I'm Anna Webb, and thank you so much for listening to A Dog's Life. Well, this week it's exciting because I've been up at Crufts and I've just popped back so that I can have a chat with Mike Hanson, my producer, about what's been going on.
Hi, Anna.
Hey, Mike.
How's it going?
Yes, good, thanks. Good, thanks. Got a day back in London after the first day at Crufts yesterday.
Well, I realized that again, I've missed Crufts this year. Didn't go last year. And then I got thinking and I realized I've actually only ever been once with you a few years ago. We went and had a great time. But you have never missed it since what, 1842 or something like that?
1842. I don't think it had happened in
Mhm.
1842. I think the first Crufts was in about 1896.
Okay. Were
So
you at that one? Were you at that one?
no, not quite. Mind
Oh,
you, face cream's working quite well if you think it was that long ago. No, I've been every single year since 2003. Prior to that, I went every year from the age of 8 to about the age of 15. So, quite a
so
few
throughout the
years.
70s, pretty much then. And
Yeah,
then back.
yeah. So I do remember going to Crufts when it was in its original big place, which was the National Hall at Olympia. Then it obviously moved to the Grand Hall of Olympia. Then it moved to Earl's Court, and then it moved up to Birmingham.
Mm.
So it's grown massively. It's held its size that it is now, probably, probably 14 years, which is filling the whole of the NEC. And part of that, so that's massive. It's
So it's 4 days, 4 day event now. Was it always a 4 day event?
always a 4 day event.
Okay.
Yeah, always that because of the judging and because of the different types of dogs, which are defined in different groups. Okay, so you have yesterday, and it was terriers and hounds. Today it's the toy group, so dogs like Mr. Binks.
Just to point
Uh,
out, it's Friday when we're recording
yeah,
this. But
exactly, on Friday. And then it's also so it's toy and utility that always go together. So utility breeds are breeds like the French Bulldog, the English Bulldog, the Dalmatian, the Keeshond, all sorts of kind of odd breeds that don't fit into, for example, being a terrier or a gun dog. And the gun dog day, which is the biggest day because there's so many gun dogs and they're hugely popular dogs like the Labrador, is tomorrow, which is Saturday. And then on Sunday, you have the working and the pastoral groups. So that's dogs like Dobermans, German Shepherds, Old English Sheepdogs, border collies, that type of dog. They compete on the Sunday. And then when all of those winners, so winner from each of these groups, are all decided, so that's not finally decided until Sunday afternoon
mm,
when the last of those two groups are judged, then everybody knows what's going to be in the final lineup of Best in Show.
yeah, yeah. And what
So
time is that?
there'll
That's
be
about Sunday night, isn't it?
yeah, I think it's about 9 o'clock.
Wow.
Yeah,
Wow.
late.
Yeah.
Yeah. No, absolutely, because it takes a long time for all the judging to happen through the day.
Mm.
Then the big groups have to be judged. And there's, off the top of my head, over 20 breeds in each of the groups. And yeah, then those dogs need to have a rest. Everyone needs to kind of clear their minds. And then the big finale performance happens, which is
Wow.
obviously televised live.
Yeah.
There's a big hype, I mean, there was lots of film cameras there yesterday floating around, press in the office, very busy with their laptops, busy wiring images to newspapers, basically. So it's a real busy hub, the press office, which was great. So I had a few meetings in there, and it's a nice place. I'm lucky to be able to go in it just to sit down
Mm.
and have a cold drink, because it's quite tiring. It was quite warm in the halls yesterday and it was busy. It was busy. So,
Yeah. Well, it's an overwhelming place. I mean, like everywhere is packed. It's everything is big and it's very spread out. So there's a lot of ground to cover.
mm,
And because I can remember tailing after you, and you obviously know everybody there. So every 3 seconds
What
you're stopping to chat to somebody. So I could see why it'd be really, really a long day for you.
Yeah, no, it was good though. It was good. It was nice to see lots of people, it was a different show and there was some spontaneous sort of meetings with people. So it was really nice actually. And it was nice to see some new brands there, for example, on that side of things. Obviously, there's a huge shopping opportunity at Crufts.
Mm,
There's as you say, big stands there, small stands there, new firms, new ideas, all sorts of things going on, as well as all of the displays that have got nothing to do with showing a dog, all the agility, the fly ball. You've got search and rescue demonstrations going on. There's my favorite, which I didn't get to see any of yesterday. I might do tomorrow. We'll see, which is Saturday, which is the canine freestyle, aka doggy dancing, because I do enjoy watching that. I love the agility. Yes, you get into it and you're like, oh,
mm,
come on. But oh, you knocked over a jump. But for me, it's the doggy dancing. I could watch that for hours, but
mm.
it's whether time permits. We will see. But Mr. Bink stood up to the test yesterday. He enjoyed it. He got spoilt, rotten, and it was all right. But I've got to remember to do more capture tomorrow because I kind of forgot to take loads of photographs yesterday, which it's this other aspect of it all, isn't it? You've got
Mm.
to actually be at Crufts in real life, but then you also have to be at Crufts on social media as well. So you're kind of doing
True.
it twice.
No, that's true, true. And any of our old friends, Will or anybody from Paleo Ridge that you bumped into and said hello? Because they'd all be up there, I suppose.
Yes, yes, I did have a great time with Will. We had a lovely coffee in the press office and a catch up, which was great. Um, and bumped into Victoria Stillwell
Yeah.
also,
How's she?
and
How's she doing?
really good, really good. I mean, it's a great chat, because obviously, well, we talked a lot about the California fires and, the loss of life for animals, as well as humans, obviously, and the loss of the LA fires, which is terrible for, animals, really awful. So that was something we're talking about. And yes,
And
and
you don't
then
hear, we didn't really hear a lot about that when it was happening. So I remember watching the coverage because obviously Clep being in the entertainment industry knew a lot of people out there, so she was quite glued to the TV, watching endless loops of the fires and updates and all that. But she pointed out, she goes, "Well, what's happening to the animals? Surely, you know, you know, you'd hear this great story every once in a while, someone gone in and rescued their cat." But surely a lot were abandoned, you would have thought, and or got caught up or whatever, or
well,
ran away because of the panic, and you just never saw them again. Just never heard any of that kind of stuff.
God, and well, actually, on the radio show, we did cover this because,
I did you? Yeah.
yeah, well, Heidi Hudson, who works at the Kennel Club, she is from California, and she flew out there when it all began to help her dad, and she ended up coming on the radio show Friday night, literally in the middle of when it was all happening, and what she explained was the problem was the fires spread so quick.
Mm,
So, for example, you might have been at work, you
yeah.
might have been in the supermarket, you might have been around at friends, you might have been picking the kids up from school.
Mm,
The fire hit so fast that the roads were cordoned off,
mm,
so people couldn't access their homes. So, if your dog was indoors just
mm,
while you went to pick the kids up from school, you couldn't get to your dog, you couldn't get to your house.
yeah.
So, there were a lot of deaths.
Mm,
Um, a lot of the search and rescue people have helped families, for closure, find, ready for this,
mm.
find microchips.
Oh, really? Really?
Um, yes, it wasn't like they could escape and run away and get lost.
No, no,
And
no.
that's what I asked, you see,
Mm,
because I said, well, hang on, all these dogs obviously all had homes before the fire. So how come so many have become displaced? So that was one of the, main reasons that so many died. Others, of course, maybe did get out and in all of the panic, got disorientated, obviously tried to run away from the smoke and the fire because
mm,
that's a natural animal thing to do. They
yeah,
know it's dangerous.
yeah.
So but having said that, yesterday I was talking to Heidi about this actually, and the Pasadena Rescue Center in California has done amazing work, and they've rehomed something ridiculous. I can't remember the exact figure, but a huge amount of dogs and cats have been reunited by their
Oh,
to
good.
their original families, even though they haven't got anywhere to live physically
Mm,
anymore, but they are reunited.
mm.
So yeah, but a lot of animals did perish.
Yeah, yeah. That's a shame. Well, speaking of the Kennel Club, did you see Bill?
Well, yeah, I
Uh,
saw Bill
this is his last
fleetingly.
year, isn't it?
It is his last year, which is really sad, you know. I know. So oh, there's now to surest change, isn't there? I went to
Mm,
see the bull terriers very briefly in the show ring. And the news, of course, was again, you know, about the vulnerable British breeds. And this year, last year, you know, it was me and Mr. Binks. They really focused on the toy terrier last year. And me and Mr. Binks did the telly, and that was great. We can't do the telly every year, you know. So anyway, we did that.
mm.
But this year's breed is you know, Nipper, the HMV dog, Mike.
Yeah.
But yeah, the smooth coated fox terrier,
Mm,
which is as bad as Mr. Binks's breed now in terms of vulnerability, which for me, and the other, well, what's silly about this is the wire haired fox terrier, which is exactly the same, but it's got a wiry coat,
mm,
you know, the dog on wheels
mm,
type dog. I mean, that's surging in popularity. You know, there's loads living around here. You see a lot of those now. But the smooth coated one, which I would think would be the more popular out of the two. I mean, if I had to have one of those dogs, I would want the smooth because I
mm,
can't be bothered with all the grooming
mm,
and the faff of it. I just like a short coated dogs. They're easier, just easier. You don't have to groom them or take them to the groomer regularly. You know, you can do it yourself. You can bath a smooth coated dog yourself. So you can trim your dog's toenails, look after their eyes and ears. You don't really need to go to a groomer.
mm,
And I just think because of the extra expense of going to a groomer, it would make the smooth coated fox terrier as popular, if not more popular. But
mm,
no, because nobody knows there is a smooth coated fox terrier, their numbers are really declining, and they are, like Mr. Binks's breed, facing extinction, which, you know, I find very troubling. I met a smooth, actually, a couple of them came into the press office towards the end to do an interview, and they came in and I was right by the entrance and had a little chat with one of the dogs. They're really smart. It's a breed of dog I'd quite like to have because it's sort of almost, it's about the size of Prudence, but lighter, so not
mm,
built like a tank like Prue is.
mm.
And you know, but not as small as Mr. Binks, because you know, I mean, Mr. Binks is the first small dog I've ever had. As, you know, as a grown up. And the problem is because everyone goes around looking at their smartphone the whole time, they're not actually looking where they're going. So
Yeah.
I have to be super aware. I don't want to carry Mr. Binks the whole time. I want him to be able to walk, right?
Mm,
But the problem I have with that is because no one looks where they're going.
yeah.
Um, yeah, you've got to be extra alert, you know. I mean, if somebody walked into Prue, you know, they'd come
You'd
off
break their
worse.
leg.
Yeah, they'd trip over, you know, and it would be not my fault because you're not looking where you're going, mate. But if somebody tripped over Mr. Binks, they could kill him.
Mm,
So
mm,
it's a bit of a different story, really, you know. So yeah, that's all. It just occurred, you know, yesterday I was having to pick him up quite a bit
mm,
because people were so distracted on the aisleways, and it just made me think, yeah, smooth coated fox terrier, but yeah, who knows? Because they may not even be around in 5 years' time, which
no.
is a very, very awful, sobering thought.
It's a shame. That'd be a
Yeah, I
shame.
know, it's such a shame. You know, they've you know, they've been around for over 200 years, and
Yeah.
then just because these designer crossbreeds are kind of like on trend, um, they're falling out of, you know, people's consciousness.
Mm. What was the other big breed this year, or the big focus on?
There's a new breed announced, which
Right.
is the Polish hunting dog, which has finally got Kennel Club recognition.
Right.
Um,
What
I've
did they
met
look
one.
like?
Well, I've met one. Funny enough, it's so funny. I didn't sort of put two and two together until I looked at a picture of one yesterday on a press release, and I'm like, oh gosh, it's the same as when I judge this show every year down in South London near London Bridge. This woman comes who's lovely, and she's got these dogs, and that's what they are. They're Polish hunting dogs. And I did know that, but I hadn't put two and two together. So they're kind of black and tan hounds, hound dogs, which are hunting dogs. So they've got the long floppy ears.
Mm.
Um, and they look kind of real dog-like, if you know what I
Yeah.
mean.
Yeah.
So quite big. And yeah, so they're a new breed. And what else was announced yesterday? Just that the show is sold out for Saturday and Sunday already. So
Right.
anyone listening on Sunday to this,
If you haven't already got tickets, it's waiting at
if you haven't got a ticket, you're not getting
Mhm.
in.
Did you see Ira or Nikki Tibbles or any of the charity chums we have? Were any of them up there?
No, Wild at Heart Foundation and All Dogs Matter didn't have stands up there this year. I think they have done in the past, but I saw medical detection dogs.
Oh
They
yeah.
were doing a big display in the main hall, hall three. Um, and then Pet Blood Bank, who's been on the podcast,
Yeah.
they had a stand which was great. So kind of waved to them. They were busy, you know. But also in that hall three, they had all the usual great things like the Young Kennel Club competitions, the Good Citizen Dog Scheme competitions for people to, get these awards with their dogs. So that was really great.
Mm.
Obviously, I went around Discover Dogs a bit. I mean, there's so much more I've got to get done tomorrow when I go up on Saturday. But I love that area because it's all the breeds, so
Mm.
you can really work out, if you really want a Tibetan Spaniel or, whether you want British Bulldog instead. It's
Yeah.
a
Yeah.
big difference in those two breeds, but it's a really great educational platform. Went to see Axel's Alexia, came
No,
on
I
the
was just going to ask
podcast.
them. Yeah, yeah, they were on last week.
Yeah,
So yeah.
they were doing well
Mm.
actually. Mr. Binks had a nice pit stop there and
Mm.
had a nice little cup of broth because they actually had the product there for dogs to do tasters, which is a really great idea.
Well, that is quite key because that was always a tricky thing with people like well, paleo because they could tell you about it, but it was hard to have lots of their product on hand because it's got to stay refrigerated. So having a product that people could try
Yeah, really
was good.
good. So they had a freezer and then they would just thaw some out as it went, and offer little cups, which
Mm.
was really nice. So they seem to be having a good show. So yeah, all in all, it was a a great energy yesterday. I met up with Dogs and Horses, the London Collar and Leeds firm.
Yeah.
They were having a good show.
Mm.
Um,
Edition Dog, were they there?
they
They must
were
have been
there,
there. Yeah.
absolutely. Yep. So I hung out with them quite a bit. And that's where I met a very interesting man from this project called the Pup Scan Project. And
And what's that?
well, he's going to be doing a podcast, so we're going to find out more. But
Okay. Well, say
he
no more.
ba-
Say no more.
okay, well, he's an orthopedic surgeon,
Mm.
like for humans, but loves animals and wanted to investigate this whole kind of genetic um prevalence to hip dysplasia. Okay. Um, and yeah, his results are really interesting in that he's studied over 70 breeds and he cannot find a genetic reference to hip dysplasia, which basically implies that hip dysplasia is completely man made
Wow.
from diet choices, from environmental issues, things like slippy floors when you've got a puppy.
Mm.
And you see, on Instagram a lot, dogs' feet flying everywhere. They're playing with a toy on one of these real slippy floors and they've got no traction with their feet. And honestly, it annoys me actually whenever I see these things, but
Mm.
you see the dog's body really, going into awkward shapes and having pressure put on, all of the joints and therefore all the ligaments and of course, the muscles as well. So so very interesting. So he's going to be joining us on a podcast, I hope soon.
Brilliant. Brilliant. Well, and then so you're going up tomorrow and doing the last little sort of look around, and it all wraps up on Sunday, and then I guess we have next year to look forward to. And I will, like I said last year, I'll try and come next year.
Yeah, no, you should come up.
Yeah.
It's great. If you go on the right train from
Mm.
Euston,
Mm.
it's only it was an hour and 5 minutes for me to get there yesterday.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, which is fast. You can't drive in that time, so no way, but particularly at the moment. So that's
Well, the train, you get off right in the NEC now as well. So it's not
well,
like you
there's
have to then get a cab or a bus, to the
no.
venue. It's literally get off the train in the venue. It's amazing.
Absolutely. But I mean, the important thing to remember always is comfortable shoes, because I think Bill Lambert said it's 25,000 acres,
Yeah,
Crufts.
yeah, yeah. I can believe it.
So yeah, but no, it was good, and we had a great time. So here's to next year.
Here's to next year.
Well, that's our show. So I hope you all enjoyed it. If you can, why don't you subscribe? Because that way you'll never miss another show. Bye for now.